everyone, today it's time for another monthly recommendations video. So this month's topic are underrated books, and I'm incredibly excited to recommend you some of my favorite underrated books. When I was kind of going through my bookshelf, kind of going a little bit through Goodreads, I realized that I actually have quite a lot of underrated books that I would absolutely love to recommend to you. So what I've decided to do is I have only underrated books in here that have some kind of diversity in there. Obviously that means 90% of these are queer. Any kind of other diversity that I read about is mostly popular books, so I couldn't really recommend them. So I have just decided to come up with a list of diverse books that I think that are underrated, and I also try to look a little bit into, have I recommended this like a million times before? Have I maybe even talked about this before in another video about underrated books? For example, I did not decide to include a Ramona Blue. You have heard about this more than enough. I really don't want to go into huge detail on any of these books, so I've decided to make this a little bit easier for both of us. I have decided to do a contemporary and a fantasy category, and then you can like skip one category if you feel like you don't want to read that, or you have read enough in that genre, whatever. But also just so it's a little bit easier for me to just give you like a quick overview of what the book is about. I'm gonna get started with the contemporaries, and first off I have Dress Codes for Small Towns by Courtney Stevens. This just deals a lot with gender and sexuality, with its fluidity, with questioning that, and it is a little bit about religion as well. It has an amazing friendship group. If you grew up in a small town, maybe a little bit religious, maybe queer, like I don't know how you have not read that yet. Then I have Like Water by Rebecca Podos. This is about a girl who is kind of realizing she's queer. I don't exactly remember if she ever settles on a label. I know there is a talk about like label as in like bisexual, but I don't think she ever settles on one. And her love interest is a lesbian, and throughout this novel comes out as genderqueer. This is a book that has so many aspects to it, I wouldn't even know where to start telling you what is in there. But at the center of it, it just deals a lot with self-discovery, and not only when it comes to sexual orientation. I mean, this is really one of those books that is hugely underrated. I think this has less than 1,000 ratings on Goodreads, and I don't get it. This story is incredibly atmospheric, beautiful, has a beautiful romance. It just has everything that it needs to have to become popular, so I really don't get it. Then I have The Sum of Jodi by Amy Spalding. This is about a girl who over the summer does this internship at a boutique, and there is another girl working there as well, and at first that's kind of a situation that's not so great because they both are looking for the same job, but then, you know, they are starting to have feelings for each other, they fall in love. When it comes to the diversity, the main character is fat and gay. I do want to mention that the mom is incredibly fatphobic in this novel, so if you feel like you can't really handle that, not sure if this is the book for you. It gets constantly challenged, but it's still hard to read about in parts. The love interest is a Mexican-American queer girl, and then we also have the main character's best friend who is black. Then I have Run by Cody Keplinger. This is maybe the only non-queer... it is queer. Bitch! Then I have Run by Cody Keplinger. This is probably one of the oldest books on this list. Most of these are like new releases. And I just, over the last few years, have been waiting for this book to have like this big breakout because it is so great. It is a wonderful book about a wonderful female friendship, and we have one main character who is legally blind, which is also Own Voices, and then the other character is bisexual. This is really like another one that is so underrated, and like people constantly crave like great books about female friendship. Why is this not popular then? Because this is it. This is what you're looking for. And then lastly, from the contemporaries, I have The Brightsiders by Jen Wild. This is a great book about friendship, about fame, about making music, about being queer. This is like one of those books that very much celebrates being queer, in my opinion. The main character in this one is bisexual. Her love interest is pansexual, genderqueer, and uses he, him pronouns, and also has social anxiety. And then there is also another side character that is non-binary and uses they, them pronouns, and they are also biracial. Although I think the exact ethnicity never gets mentioned. I just think that their father is black and their mother is white. But yeah, this is one of my favorite books of the year. Just read it. And then finally in this category I have Summer of Salt by Katrina Leno, and this is actually the perfect bridge between the contemporary and the fantasy category because this is a kind of fabulist contemporary, so there's there's a little bit of like magic in there, but it's still very much contemporary. Like the themes and the journey is very much contemporary. This is just a wonderfully atmospheric novel, and I don't even know how to describe it. It has a gay main character and a sapphic love interest. For this one, there are also trigger warnings for rape and sexual assault, so be aware of that, but definitely highly recommended novel. And then in the fantasy category, first off, I have The Abyss Surrounds Us by Emily Skutsky. This is about pirates. It has sea monsters. It has a really, really wonderful female-female romance. This is a duology, by the way. I should maybe say that. And the main character is also Asian. This is a really quick read. You can see this is super short. The sequel is also super short. It has amazing, like, morally grey characters. It has a anti-hero journey, and it's just, this is another one where I'm just like, how is this so underrated? Then I have Reign of the Fallen by Sarah Glenn Marsh. Now I have to say, this is, out of all of the books that I mentioned, probably one of my least favorites. It only has like a 3.5 stars. There's a female-female romance in here, and I'm pretty sure the main character identifies as bisexual. This is about necromancy, and definitely everything about this was really well done. I just didn't like 100% get into it as much as I wanted. It also deals with like substance abuse, and like there's so much packed into this. I really could not do this list without recommending this one. And yeah, it just does a lot of interesting things, and this is the first in a what I think will be a trilogy. But yeah, even though I didn't love it, still highly recommended. Then I have Jane Unlimited by Christine Kishore. I honestly cannot even believe I have to put this on this list. I thought, you know, when Christine Kishore finally comes out with another book, that it would get all the hype in the world, but it didn't, and I'm sad about it. How do you describe Jane Unlimited? It is just a wild book. It has diverging storylines. It's confusing, but it does it so well. Like, it confuses you in a good way. It has a really, really great female-female romance, and the main character in general, Jane, is absolutely lovely. Like, definitely a character that I have saved a space in my heart for. This is just a book you have to experience it. You just have to experience it. There's no way describing it. And then I have Ink Mistress by Audrey Coulthurst. You will probably know I absolutely love this. It's just beautiful. It has a really, really wonderful fantasy setting, has a great storyline, has an amazing cast of characters. There are queer side characters. The main character is attracted to both boys and girls. I don't think there is a label in here, as it's a fantasy setting. The main romance in this one is a male-female romance, but there is also a female-female romance portrayed at the beginning. It's oh my god, it's so beautiful. And then I also have, wow, one male-male romance. Do I even knew these existed? And that is Timekeeper by Tara Sim. Now, I feel like in the kind of queer community, this is not necessarily underrated. I feel like most people know about it, at least, but still not enough people have read this. This book is really, really wonderful. This is also a trilogy, and the second book is already out. The next book comes out, or the final book comes out in January. I have not yet read the sequel, I do have to say, but I feel like the storyline also ended in a way that was pretty satisfying. But yeah, this has literally one of the most fluffy romances I have read in my whole life. The main character identifies as gay, and the love interest does not use any label in the first book, but I think that's more so because he doesn't really grasp the concept of sexual orientation. I think I might have read that the author said he's pansexual, and I think that would make a lot of sense. But yeah, just a really interesting concept, a really wonderful romance, really detailed, amazing world building, and a couple of really interesting characters. Anyway, these were all of my recommendations that I wanted to do today. When I read this topic, I really did not think I would come up with such a huge list, and I already like shortened the list to just diverse books, and these are not even all of the underrated diverse books, and I just want much more people to read and review them so that they can get shared with the people that just really, really need them. I obviously want to know your favorite underrated books that have some kind of diverse main character. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I guess I'll see you soon. Bye!